So this is a constructor without arguments, and this is also a subclass constructor without arguments. So inside this, by creating an object for the subclass, we can access both the constructors. But if the constructor consisting of a parameters, it is not possible to call this way. So that we are using super keyword. One second. Yeah, we are using a super keyword to access the constructor which consisting of a parameters. This is the topic we discussed in the last class. And now we are going to discuss about the dispatch method, dynamic method dispatch. So when it will occur. So this is a normal way to overriding methods. It happens in the time of overriding methods. But at the time of calling the subclasses, we are not going to create an object and directly call the methods inside the subclass. We create a reference for the superclass, and then we assign that reference to the subclasses so that we can access all the values, in the sense methods and variables also. By using the reference, we are going to access the objects of the subclasses. This is called the dynamic method dispatch. So here, a superclass reference variable can refer to a superclass object. So here we are going to create two objects, but we are not going to call by using this object. We are not going to call the statements inside the subclass by using this object. By using the reference only, by creating a reference of a subclass object to the superclass, then we are going to call the values inside a subclass, which we call it as dynamic method dispatch. Okay. Okay. This is how we created a program inside an application. So here, class A, which we call it as a superclass, consisting of a method M1, and here inside class B, we are having one more method M1. And here in class C, we are having a method, the same method M1. Here A and B is a relationship, which we call it as a B inherits the properties of A and C inherits the properties of A. So this is a single and this is also a single. Okay, this is not a multi-level inheritance. Okay, in the sense of single inheritance, we are doing the concept to approach dynamic method dispatch. So let me share the screen of this is not the one. Yeah. So in the last class, we have created a reference for the object, first of all. So here, this is the class A, this is the class B, and this is the class C. Class A consisting of a method M1, class B consisting of a method M1, and class C consisting of a method M1, which we will get an overriding concept. So here, class B extends the properties of class A, so that these two methods are overridden. Class C extends the properties of class A. So these two methods has been overridden. Okay. And now I created three objects for main superclass, and this is the subclass and this is the subclass. Let me comment this object for superclass, object for subclass of A. Subclass of A means B, and here again object for subclass of A, which is a C. Okay. Here I created it. This is a variable name. Here I created A's object. I'm going to consider the superclass object A, and I'm going to create a reference, so that now I'm using this reference to call upon this method. I mean, I'm going to use this one like this. Sorry, is equal to, 1 second. Again, I'm going to tell you, I just created 3 objects. So which is for the superclass, and this is a subclass of A, and this is a subclass of A. C is a subclass of A, and B is a subclass of A. And finally, we are saying A as a superclass, which we call it as a main class also. Okay. The parent class, superclass, and the base class. So each and every words are same: super, base, and a parent class. These are the subclasses, or called it as a child class or a derived class. Subclass, child, or a derived. Okay. All these 3 words are same in the sense of a subclass. Just we created 3 objects. So by using by using a class A, what is an A? A is a parent class. A consisting of a parent class, which we call it as a parent class, and we created a variable reference for that. I just created a variable. This is a variable name, reference, ref. This is on your own. You can do, you can take any name over here, and that the object of A has been assigned to the reference. The object of A, this is the object of A. This is the object of superclass, has been assigned. This is the assignment operator, is equal to, in the sense, assignment operator. I assigned that to the reference, and now I'm going to call a method inside that object. And now I'm going to call inside that object, which we call this one. And now I'm going to the similar way. I'm going to assign reference of A is equal to B. So here, now this has been assigned with, this reference has been assigned with B. A has been replaced by B, which we call it as a subclass of A. And I'm going to call reference dot M1. Sorry, 1 second. Here I need to take a reference. Again, I'm going to call a reference of dot M1. So here, these both are same. But here the assignment of a reference is the object of a superclass. And here the reference of a object class, I mean the superclass, is B. And I'm calling M1. These both statements are same. But in the sense we assign here superclass object, here the subclass object. Now again I'm going to call assign reference is equal to C and reference dot M1. See what it will happen. So here every time we are assigning objects to the reference, so that B will replace A and C will replace B over here. Okay. And each and every object when assigned, only the particular method will be called inside a subclasses or the superclass. Let me run this program. See this. So what I did, method A, B, C has been created. How it has been done? So here, this is the method for the superclass. So which has been overridden by the subclass B. And the same thing, this method has been overridden by the subclass C. So now here we created 3 objects, which is the common way. If you want to call A.M1, then it will be printed. B.M1, it will be printed. C.M1 and C method has been printed. But in this sense, we are going to use a concept called dynamic method dispatch, which we have to assign a reference to the superclass. By using the superclass reference, we are going to call the methods inside the superclass subclasses, which we call it as a dynamic method dispatch. This is the main reference. If you didn't write this one inside your program, they won't consider this as a dynamic method dispatch. Okay, this is the concept, very easy concept, nothing else. This is a common thing till date we learned. This is a common thing till date we learn. But if you want to use the concept of a dynamic method dispatch will run at the time of a runtime polymorphism. This will be happened at the time of a runtime. All these things are changed at the time of runtime polymorphism. I mean, at the runtime only these will change, not at the compile time. That's why this concept has been named as a dynamic method dispatch. Dynamic in the sense which will happen at the runtime only. Static will be in the class, within the class, at the time of a compile time, which throws error if there is any if there is any error over there, instantly will get the error. But the runtime errors are only formed after the runtime only. Okay, here compile time in the sense after the creation of, before the creation of an object class for the particular class, which we call it as this one. We are going to create a byte codes for this. After the compilation, Java creates a bytecode for this. By using the bytecodes only, we are going to create a memory by using the JVM. At that time, we'll call it as a runtime. This will happen at that time. Okay, just remember this one. I think you don't have any doubts over here. Okay, let me share you the slide. So this has been achieved. So what is finally the dynamic method dispatch? While we are overriding the methods, which has been consisting of the same method, we'll call it as a overriding concept. So these two things are overridden by using this method. In the sense of inheritance concept, we will get a dynamic method dispatch, which will get at the time of a runtime. Okay, here nothing else, is a simple thing. Every time we are supposed to create an object, and then we are going to call these methods by using the particular object. But here we are going to create a reference. One second, one more disturbance is happening over here. So it is nothing but a creation of a reference for the main class. This is the parent class. Just by using the reference, we are accessing the methods inside a B and C. This is called a dynamic method dispatch. This is a simple thing. There is no need to worry about this. Very, very simple one. Common thing is, first we'll create an object and we'll call the methods. But here in the dynamic method dispatch, we create a reference. By using the reference, we are going to call the methods. That's it. Okay, now we'll move on to the abstract classes. So these things are the main, you are entering into the main topic. When you entered into the inheritance concept, think like these are the main topics inside a Java. All these are features available inside a Java, which gives a lot of information at the time of a project building. So every time you have to learn about all these things. The main things are inheritance, abstract classes, and then interfaces. All these three are very important in the sense of inheritance. All these three things are interrelated. So by using all these things only, we are going to build a project. So please don't skip this topic like based on the weightages. Yeah, it is enough to pass like that. Don't you think in that way? Just simply learn all the things what I explained to you. Okay. Now the concept of abstract classes. This is nothing but the process of hiding implementation. Hiding in the sense at the time of encapsulation. What is an encapsulation? To create a privacy to the data, we just use a variable, the access controller private. So at the time of access control of a private members, we discussed a program by using a setter getter methods. So how you are going to get the, to access the private variables by using set getter, set method and get method. The same thing here, why we need to use an abstract class is because you are having one class. Suppose, let me show you the class. Just I'm showing them for example. I'm not writing the program right now. Think like the parent class is you. This is my class. Think like this is my class. It is not visible to you. Here itself, it is just visible to you. But in the sense of a programming, it is not visible to you. This is me. Just you are asking, you are using my class to extend some properties, so that you are asking for the permission, like by using relationship. What is a relationship? Is a relationship. By using is a relationship, you are asking me to implement some methods for me. I mean, for yourself, by the reference of my method. This think like, okay, I will make it like this. So it is not visible for you right now. But you made an extension. I mean, is a relationship with me right now. You are going to write your words, but here in the sense, I don't want to share some more information over here. Private int x. So this is the information which is not shareable to you. Okay, which is not shareable to you. In this sense, please turn off your mic. So this information will not share to you. Only some information only will be shared to you. Okay. So which we call it as a private, which is not possible to inherit the properties. So if I want to access this one, which is not possible. So like see this, insert this, I want to make super.x. So which is a private access. So which is not allowed to you. So if you want to hide some information, you are going to use an abstract classes, which we can't see that classes. And there is a relationship in between abstract class and interfaces concept. All these are to overcome multiple inheritance in Java. There is a multiple inheritance and hybrid inheritance, which is not possible in Java. To overcome that, they introduces an abstract and interfaces concept. So now we are going to discuss an abstract class and abstract method. What is an abstract class? Let me show you that. The abstraction is a process of hiding the implementation details and showing only the functionality to the user. Only the functionality to the user. Functionality to the user means, okay, I built an application for you. So inside a Play Store, I'm going to place an application. So this is our college application. What you will see in the sense of a message sending. Okay, think like in your mobile application, there is a WhatsApp. There is only a text box consisting of a send message and there is a button. Can you see the program, what he wrote? You can't see that. This is called an abstraction. Only the functionality you are seeing over there. There is a text box. And inside the text box, you are going to type the information that what you want to send to the particular person. And there is a button. By clicking that, this message will be sent to that particular person. But are you seeing the code? No, right? That we call it as an abstraction. The main usage of an abstraction is to hiding the implementation, not the functionality. You are just using the functionality only. In your mobile application, there is a application called calculator. You just using 2 plus 3 or 2 by 3 or 4 by 3. What are all the functionalities they provided? But the implementation, the program, you can't see that. This is called abstraction. The simple way, you can't see the implementation program of the programmer. You just use the functionality, which we call it as an abstraction. So what is the type of that? I mean, sorry, the declaration. How to declare an abstract class? Simply over here, we are having abstract and the class keyword. This is a keyword. Abstract is a keyword and class keyword, and this is the name of your class. And they should be something what you want to implement over here. Just you write over here. What the abstract class consisting of? The abstract consisting of some rules. You have to follow that. So the abstract class must be declared with an abstract keyword. Yeah, we know that. So there should be an abstract class. If you didn't mention this, it will treat it as a common class. There should be a keyword called abstract, and it can have abstract and non-abstract methods. What it is this saying? It consisting of, sorry, I don't want to change this. I will show over there. Okay, so now I'm going to create one more class named abstract stract demo. Yeah, so this is the abstract demo. Here I'm going to create. How to create it? Creating, so create or declaring abstract class. Okay, how to create that? By using a keyword abstract and the name, the keyword class and the name of the class. It is already created over the duplicate class one. Okay, I'll mention it as a V. Okay, mention it small v. Yeah. So if you want to declare it, you have to use, you should use a keyword class, keyword called an abstract. If you remove this, it will treat it as a common class. So that it is essential to mention abstract. Again, I'm telling you what is the use of an abstraction. Only the functionality has been shown to you, but not the implementation. What is an abstraction? Functionality has been shared, but the implementation doesn't share, which you are going to use only the functionality. Okay, next one. So here it can have abstract and non-abstract methods. What is a non-abstract method? We already know that. Again, I'm going to share this. So here the abstract class consisting of abstract method as well as non-abstract methods. Sorry, abstract methods and non-abstract methods. Let me create abstract. The name of the method should be, yeah, I take it as a test. Oh, sorry, I forgot. So here, how to declare a method like this. We are not going to show the implementation over here. We'll implement somewhere else. This consisting of, this is a way how to declare a method inside an abstract class. Let me show you. This is a declaration of, sorry, abstract. Okay, whatever the spelling mistake it is. So this is the declaration of an abstract method. So what the abstract class consisting of? Abstract methods as well as non-abstract method also. Let me declare that one also. Test2 W2. So now it is showing error because this is not an abstract method. That's why we need to mention the implementation over here. Again, I'm telling you, if there is an abstract before the method, you should not implement over here. What is the implementation? What you're writing over here? This is a common method. Just I'm telling you the abstract class consisting of abstract methods as well as non-abstract methods. If you mention an abstract keyword before the method, we can't implement over here. We'll implement somewhere else. We're not going to use implementation over here. If it is not an abstract method, you have to implement over here. Let me declare over here system.out.println. non-abstract method. Okay, this is a non-abstract method. Then this is an abstract method. Already said that. Okay. So this is how I'm telling the abstract class consisting of abstract methods as well as non-abstract methods, which we can't implement over here, but we can use the functionality in some other classes. I'm going to tell you that example also. Let me share you my slide. So here, it cannot be instantiated. What I said, it cannot be instantiated. That's why I didn't instantiate it over there. What is an instantiation? We are going to assign that to the object. So by the example, you will understand that one. Every time I'm going to move on to this slide, I mean, to the PPT and the program itself. Directly we will go for the program. Then you will understand all the things. Okay. It can have a final methods also. What is use of a final method inside a program? If it is a final class, we can't inherit it. If it is like a final method, it can't be overridden. If we use it for the variables, we'll call it as a constant. All the things will be the same as a final functionality in the previous sessions we discussed. Okay. And it can have a constructors and a static methods also. Yeah, we are going to use the static methods. Why we need to use the static methods? Sometimes we don't want to use a common methods. We'll use the static methods also. Directly without creating an object inside a main method, we are going to call that particular method. I think you already reading all the topics what I said. What is that? What is a static? So inside a static method, you have to call upon static methods only and static variables only. What is the use of a static? Within the class, there is no need to create an object. Directly you can call the methods. Without creating an object, you can call that one. If you want to call the methods that doesn't declared in a static, you have to create an object for the class and then you have to access that particular method. The usage of a static is that we discussed that one. So the final already we know that. Now we are going to discuss about abstract methods. A abstract method which is declared an abstract and does not have an implementation. What we discussed right now. So here it ends with a semicolon. It ends with a semicolon. Why it ends with a semicolon? Abstract method doesn't have an implementation. What is a normal method? Normal method having an implementation inside a class. Without implementation, abstract method will happen. If there is an implementation, think like it is not an abstract method. And there should be a keyword before the method, which we call it as the declaration of an abstract method. Again, I'm telling you, a method which is declared as an abstract and does not have an implementation is known as an abstract method. So now the abstract class and method theoretical part has been done. Now we have to go for the best examples for the abstract method. These are the methods. What is the use of an abstract class or a method? So you are going to share only the functionality to the users. You are not going to show you the implementation to the users. Your programming skills somewhat different, but the user just need the functionality. If you are using a message app, you are sending only the message and there is a button. By using the button, by clicking on the button, you are going to send a message. They can't see your implementation. So that we are going to use the topic called abstraction, which you are hiding some information. Yes, you are showing some functionality to them, not the implementation. Okay, implementation in the sense, if there is an addition over here, if you are going to write an addition program, int a, int b, and c is equal to a plus b, and system.out.println, inside the parenthesis, you are going to print c. Why they need all these things? They don't need that. They need only the functionality. Don't give me that. Just give me two numbers, 1 and 2. I'm going to use an operator plus. And when I click on is equal to, I need the output 1 plus 2 is equal to 3. This is the functionality the user expecting. Okay, hacker doesn't expect that. They need your implementation. Okay, So now I'm going to share you my. Now we are going to discuss a clear cut idea about how we are going to use an abstract method as well as the abstract class. Okay. Okay, 1 second. Let me create a public static void main. Sorry. Okay. 1 second. Yesterday itself, I had a program. I wrote a program. Where is that one? In the session. Okay. So it is essential to declare that. Think like these two things are your, and this is the functionality you people are using. I'm going to tell you the open applications, how you are going to use that. So this is the main method. Sorry. This is the main method. The user is going to use these two classes, or here you are going to implementation. You are not going to see this implementation. You are not going to see this class also. But here you are going to use the functionality of these two classes. Okay. So here inside this, I'm going to take system.out.println inside. Okay, I will take it as inside subclass. This is for our information point of view. I will tell you the general example also. Functionality. Okay. So here we are going to take the functionality of that. Again, I'm telling you, if there is any method, abstract method inside available inside abstract class, you should implement that if you are going to acquire the properties of a parent class. Okay. Now I'm going to create an object. Now I'm going to create an object for the abstract class. Okay, I'm going to create an object for the abstract class. Okay, I'm going to tell you, wait a second. So this is the abstract class. So how to create an object, how to declare an object. AB is equals to new AB of. So here, why it is showing like this? Okay, in the previous scenarios, you just created this, but it is not an abstract method available inside an abstract class. Again, I'm telling you here, when I click on this, it is automatically generated. It is automatically generated. Why it is automatically generated? Man, there is a abstract method over here. You should implement that. But you are going to use the functionality. Why you need all these things? I don't want all these things. Just already there is an implementation inside a subclass, and now I'm going to use that for, sorry, BA. I'm going to use that one. Again, I'm telling you, don't get confused. This is a method. You don't need an implementation over here. Why you need an implementation? You need only the functionality. How to send message is enough. I don't need that program. So for that, you have to create, assign the object of the subclass to the main class, which we call it as a parent class. So AB is equal to new BA of. It has been already implemented over here. And now I'm going to access the test method AB.test. So it will be accessed. Let me run this program. See this one inside a subclass. Again, I'm going to tell you okay, 10, 15, right? Okay. So what is the final usage of an abstract class? You are going to learn this. Tomorrow you have to learn this one. You should, because we are going to discuss about the interface concept over there, which is related with abstract class. Without, I mean, by using abstract class, interfaces will achieve 100% functionality. Only the abstract class will get 0 to 100%. You will search it in a Google, then okay, there is no need of a Google. I will explain that one. So the abstract class usage is to give the functionality to the users only, not the implementation. If I explain only in the PPT itself, you can't understand in this way. That's why I'm giving you the best example for this. So here it consisting of abstract class consisting of abstract method. If you want to get the properties of a parent element inside a subclass, you have to implement. What is have to? Have to in the sense must, should. You should implement the particular abstract method inside that. If there is nothing available over here, there is no need to implement this one. It won't throw any error. It won't throw any error. If you have abstract method inside an abstract class, it throws error like class BA must either be declared abstract or implement the abstract method. Either be an abstract in the sense it should be like abstract, or you have to implement this method. There are two ways to remove this error. Whether it should be an abstract class or it should be, you must implement the test method. This is a scenario. I mean, this is a context what we're discussing in the abstract class. Mainly the usage is you just giving the functionality. That's it. And you are not going to show the implementation concept, which is not necessary for the end user. Okay. Okay. It has been done. So inside that we implemented. And here, while you are sharing the functionality to the end user, you just assign the object of a subclass to the main class. You should not write AB over here. If you again write AB over here, it throws error because it consisting of abstract. That's why which is not possible to create an object. It is possible. If you want to write it, yes, you can implement over here. That doesn't matter. But the functionality already declared over here. Functionality has been implemented over here. So you are going to show the functionality to the programmer. I mean, functionality to this user only. So which is not possible. Again, I'm going to show you what this guy is telling. Okay. Yeah, it's okay. Okay. So this is the abstract class. Please tomorrow make sure that you are going to learn about interfaces concept. So abstract gives a clear idea about the interfaces. So by using the interfaces, you are going to achieve a multiple inheritance. So if we got a multiple inheritance, then we are also going to achieve hybrid inheritance. So which is a very important topic in Java. Abstract and the interfaces are connected together to give a good implementation concept for the users, for the end users. Okay. And the time has been done. You may leave the class tomorrow. Please come sharply. Okay. Thank you. You may leave the class.